Uh,
All right. Well, after a week off, we are back. Episode six. Episode six of the Rules of Nerdquisition. We are back. I am Gretchen. He is
yes.
angry. We're just a bunch of nerds. Yep.
So we are two nerds talking about Star Trek.
Talking about Star Trek. And today's episode, The Enemy Within, as we were discussing before I started recording, got to throw a trigger warning out there. And as Angry pointed out, in the midst of all the man versus bear drama that's going around, we do have to throw a trigger warning for assault essay out there on this particular episode because it does have some suggestive themes to it.
That it definitely it touches on that.
It does. It does absolutely. But it's a good episode. I like this one. I liked it. It's one of my favorites of the original series.
Might as well. Might as well. It definitely it explores definitely more into to the side of our good side versus our bad side, and how much our good relies on our bad and our bad relies on our good,
Right. Yeah,
so
definitely.
it's a little bit more it's deep.
It's
It's
deep.
deep.
It is deep, given the fact that I think that um even though TOS was kind of ahead of its time for some of the themes that it would bring up, and it shows definitely more lighthearted than any of the other series, especially I would say the flagship three,
Oh, of
TNG,
course, yeah.
Voyager, and DS9. DS9 got really dark, especially with the political intrigue and the war themes and stuff like that. So,
Oh, yeah, with the whole political power struggle with Vedic Win and Vedic Kai
oh yeah,
and
religion. I mean, they,
oh yeah. Yeah, that was some
they,
that was another deep episode too.
yeah,
Um,
they
but
went
again,
everywhere with that one.
yep. And for again everybody that's coming in, trigger warning, we are talking about Star Trek: The Enemy Within. Um, Original series, season one, episode
Six,
6.
we're counting as Paramount does. We're counting The Cage as episode one, but technically, I guess this would
It's
be Kirk's
episode 7.
episode five. Episode five,
Right. Yeah,
right?
yeah. We'll
I,
go with
I,
that. Yes.
I'm an accountant. Trust me, it's what I do for a living. So
So I'll trust you with the numbers.
fair enough. Fair enough. Somebody does at
So,
least. Anyway,
so we open up the scene. We open it up at
where are we? Alpha one
the
seven seven.
Alpha something. I don't know where we're at.
Alpha 177. Yes.
And just doing some routine, just looking around, seeing what's happening, looking at the local, fauna, flora, all the
This yes.
the
This planet.
landscape and everything. And so the
This
planet has a whole lot of stuff going on. Want to see
it
what was
does.
happening.
Especially, it also has unicorn space dogs.
Of course. Oh,
Unicorn space dogs.
unicorn space dogs. Uh, and again, I would say out of all of the creatures that Star Trek has provided, I have to say those are the best ones.
Unicorn space
Unicorns,
dogs. Yeah.
unicorn space dogs.
Yeah. I kind of want a unicorn space dog. Definitely. That's going to have to be something that geneticists are going to have to come up with. Eugenics bad, but making unicorn space dogs,
I mean, you kind of
captain's
say,
approval.
come on, come on, let us have the unicorn space dogs. We gotta have you. Let us have the unicorn space dogs. You know.
Absolutely. And you can't have an episode start without one random member of the crew. In this case, it was Fisher going and messing it
just
up for everybody.
just messing it all up for everybody and just causing all of the hijinks to happen.
Absolutely. Because
So
what was that? Like got some. He fell down. He fell off
he's
a
fell
rock, and he's
fell
got
off a
this.
rock and I guess broke his wrist. Um, Something to do with his hand, broke his hand or his wrist or something like that, and then had a whole bunch of just, I guess, radioactive, magnetic, yellow ore
Dust.
dust
Yeah.
that was just all over him, and it messed with the transporters and caused him to have the transporters do some wonky, wild, wonky stuff.
Now I got to say something about transporters. Okay, now this is by this point in the Star Trek timeline, transporters are in everyday use.
Correct.
They have a lot of accidents, not just in this series, but in TNG. It's just like something's always going wrong. So was McCoy really, really that
Was he really that paranoid
out?
about it?
I mean,
Was
it's
he
not
was he really
paranoid.
that kind of?
It's not paranoid if what you're paranoid about exists. Like,
Well,
they're
yes, that's true.
if they're coming to get you, then you're not paranoid that they're coming to get you. If it turns you inside out and into space goo on a platform, then it's not paranoid to
Mhm.
think that it's going to turn me inside out into a puddle of space goo on this platform. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair
just saying.
enough.
You know.
I would say so. I mean, he did have some merit. He had a lot of merit in his arguments on the against against the use of the transporter. And we see that it started out, we get the unicorn space dog beamed up, and we get two unicorn space dogs.
Well, we get actually Kirk beams up first
Well, Kirk, yeah, and
because
then we get
yeah,
the unicorn space
because
dog.
Scotty's
Because
like, oh, what happened to the transporter? And then Kirk's like, beam me up. He's like, hang on a second. Pushes a couple buttons. He's like, everything's fine. Fisher, go clean your uniform. You look terrible. And then Kirk beams up. And then why the transporter room is empty, despite Kirk telling Scotty not to leave the transporter room empty,
well, see, don't
evil conniving Kirk beams up.
well, see, then the other person that was there with Scotty, that he said, "Hey, I'm gonna do a double check on this. Go grab the equipment and
Right,
come right
right.
back." And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you tell him that you want to do this double check on this thing because it kind of acted weird and it's fine now, but you want to make sure that it's going to work okay. I get it. Um, but wouldn't you want to wait till he gets back first? I'm just saying. I mean,
Yeah,
that would be my I don't know. That would be my take on it. I think he kind of needed to wait until he got back before he just said,
I
"It's
would have.
fine, it'll be all right."
It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing to worry about.
It's like, it's
But then
fine.
we get this gremlin thing. And I read a couple of different reviews in preparation for this episode. One of them actually called it like good Kirk and evil Kirk, and then another one called it positive and negative. I actually like that definition
Mm,
better. Because I
yeah,
don't know that it was evil. I mean, if he was evil, why did he just do
right.
everything he wanted to do, which he didn't quite, but
Yeah,
came
because I
close.
mean, well, let's not forget just Kirk and himself. He's not like that high on the moral scale. Um, I mean, yeah, he does some good stuff every now and again, but I mean, let's not forget he's not really that high up on the morality scale.
No,
To
no,
begin with,
he's a womanizer and he's always quick to go to fisticuffs
right?
if the
So
situation for it.
let's just not say he's the greatest guy to begin with. So so it's more or less kind of his positive and negative was one that was a little less violent than the other one.
Right, right. But I think this is probably as passive in any episode that you'll ever see William Shatner portray Kirk because they are
But
split into two,
yes, that
and
is true.
you get the positive one. It's kind of like, and then the other one is just
And
like evil grin the whole time. Give me brandy.
Evan
Like that's his first thing, right to sick
said,
bay.
"Give me brandy." That he wants something to drink, and then he sees, poor Yeoman Rand. every episode, poor Yeoman Rand, she always just catches it every time.
Every time, every
Hmm.
time. Yeah, unfortunately, she
And
we've said this before in previous episodes. She takes so much abuse through this series for being
and
a high-ranking woman on the Enterprise, you know?
yes, and it's just every just Yeoman Rand, I feel sorry for you. I really feel sorry for her. Every episode. And the
Yeah,
first thing, and then soon as the negative Kirk gets all liquored up, he sees Yeoman Rand, and then, oh, hey, let me get some of that.
right,
And what is
exactly.
it in?
Using all those old tropes, you know, like don't fight me, let's stop pretending, blah blah, you know, just like, oh,
Says, I see how you look at me, and I look at you. We feel the same way. Don't try to fight it. And it's like, yo, bruh, no, 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 no. Stop, stop, stop right now.
right.
Stop right now. 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 And
Which I think is it's actually a theme again.
yeah,
It comes up with the whole man bear thing that's been going around. You know, one of the things I heard women talking about was like the reason that the bear is chosen is because, you know, when a man says no, he means no. But to a man, when a woman says no, it means, oh, the negotiations have begun.
yeah, it
Like
just means if a woman to a man, if a man says no, then it's no. If a woman says no, it's like, hmm,
it quickly becomes
antagonize, just antagonize me until I say yes.
yes,
That
it
that's
quickly becomes coercion.
yeah, that apparently that's what what he would hear instead of just hearing no. It's like, and again, it's the theme of this whole episode seems to tie in coincidentally with this whole man versus bear thing.
It worked out well. It
And
worked out well. And meantime, you know, Kirk is being confronted by Spock. Spock is like, you know, I just talked to Dr. McCoy and he said, you
and
came
he
down to
said,
sick bay screaming and yelling and give me brandy and
dang, dang.
positive
And then
Kirk's like, whatever,
it's like, I've been right here, man. I haven't done nothing.
man.
And it seems like just with McCoy, and I don't get it, is he's supposed to be the ship's doctor. He's supposed to be the one that makes kind of a judgment decision on somebody that is okay. He's not acting in his normal right mind. If somebody would come up like that, captain or not, and just say, "Give me brandy now." Okay,
Especially
that's
McCoy.
right. And why would you just cave in and give that to him? You're the doctor. You said that. It's like, yo, no, it's no. You're not getting anything. Doctor's orders. You're off. I'm taking you off duty because something's not right with you.
Anybody looking at him would know that that's not the right behavior. And, you know, and
Yes.
you said we're going back to the scene where kind of these dual scenes are happening at the same time, but Kirk, the negative Kirk is trying to take advantage of Rand. She scratches his face, and
Mm-hmm.
then Fisher, the guy who screwed it up for everybody, um, happens to be the one that comes along
And
and
sees,
sees everything happening.
yeah.
And
And then here's the thing, and
if
I'm
you've
sorry.
served with this, I'm just saying, if you've served with Kirk for any amount of time, even though I know he has to give his
Mm,
eyewitness statement, you should still be like, he was not acting like himself. Something ain't right.
yeah. It's like something was really off because Captain's never done anything like that.
No.
And he's never had to look in his face like that. He's never done anything like that. And this is something that it could cost him everything. And what made it so bad was McCoy being the doctor that clearly could have stopped it from the very, very beginning. He enabled Kirk. Even the positive Kirk and the negative Kirk just enabled it to happen.
Yeah.
And Spock, even logical Spock, and then wanting to make sure that everything is on the up and up, and everybody's good. He even kind of turned the other way when Kirk was doing stuff, and then the positive Kirk was like, "Hey, come on, Spock, it's
Eh,
me.
eh,
Hey, come on, guy.
McCoy was joking with
Ah,
you.
come
He was
on,
joking.
come on." McCoy's pulling your leg, and then of course Spock wanted to, I guess, some form of wanted to be accepted or friendship or whatever the case may be, or some weird sense of loyalty that trying to hide something. I don't know, but he just kind of turned a blind eye and enabled Kirk to let it happen too.
Yeah.
And when the yeoman, she came and made her report and say, the captain did this, he was that, and he had this brandy. And then the first thing instantly was like, of course, you're going to say, Kirk was going to say, I wasn't here, I didn't do it. And that was the positive one. And he was telling the truth. But
Right.
then what ends up happening is that immediately, because he's the captain and he's one of the boys, and he's like, come on, Spock, it's me. I wouldn't do anything like that. And McCoy, come on. You see me. I wouldn't go in the sick bay and do anything like that.
I
And
know.
come on. And you said you
Yes,
scratched me. Look at my face. Do I look scratched? Come
not just
on.
problematic behavior from the negative Kirk, but problematic behavior from his
From
friends that
positive.
are right
Yeah,
that are
from yes.
reinforcing
And
that
just
behavior.
reinforcing it, and then clearly just looking at the yeoman and just like, are you sure it happened? What happened? You said what happened? And then instantly it goes right into, again, like how it does in real life, that something would happen to a woman, and she makes that, she makes it known, and then is immediately just like,
And nobody believes her.
ah,
And nobody believes her.
exactly.
Yet more recurring themes from the man versus bear argument. Are there space bears that we can choose in the 23rd century? Are there
There's got
space
to
bears?
be.
I'm
There's got
sure.
to be.
Didn't
There's
Spock
got.
have a pet as a kid that was like a giant fanged space bear kind of thing?
Oh yes, that's right. He did. That was his teddy bear, wasn't
His teddy bear, yes.
it?
Yes, on Vulcan, the teddy bears weigh so many pounds and have 6-inch fangs and blah, blah, blah. But I would still think, too, that McCoy, since we don't ever establish that in Kirk's time they have like shipboard counselors, I would think that you would have to. I don't know why they wouldn't, but probably just an
Right.
oversight by the writing crew then. But I would think McCoy should be able to easily tell, okay, well, if the person who attacked you was under the influence of alcohol, I mean, we have breathalyzers today. I think can't McCoy just go woo 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 with his little device and
Mm.
and tell him his blood alcohol content? I
Yeah.
would seems to me
I,
that
I
should be
would
a thing.
yeah, I would think that would be, you know, something that you can do. Um, because we can do that now. So we should be able to do it, you know, 300 years in the future.
Right, right. No, but what can I say? Again, I don't even think that they really intended to explore some of the more trigger warning worthy themes that we're even talking about. Again, it just coincides with man versus bear. But really, I
Yeah.
think it was more about, the duality of man kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, as opposed to, the good versus evil, the as that opposed to thing, as opposed to um he just essayed a woman and you're now completely gaslighting her and dismissed her. Okay, that whole thing was just completely brushed away. It's like,
And let's talk about the fact that like I know that you could separate like I can look at myself objectively and say, okay, here's some of my good traits, here's some of my bad traits. And if I were to split into two people with those traits going to either side, I don't think that my bad side would commit sexual assault against somebody because that's not one of my negative traits, I guess,
Right.
that I would do
Because
that to somebody. So,
because
so weird.
it's not like that's something that is
But again, Kirk
uh
is a womanizer, so maybe that is an exaggeration
that's
of that side of his personality. Like, well, I like women, and when I'm just all normal, I'm like, wink, wink, baby. And then when I'm split in two, the other side's like, forget the wink. Let's just,
I guess the logical extent would be would be just that.
yeah, let's stop pretending, Janice. Don't resist me.
Stop it.
And I hate to laugh. I hate to laugh because it's not a funny situation, but still, it is what it is. But now
Right.
we've got a good Kirk, and instead of McCoy doing that, little, I can see if you're drunk or not in 2 seconds, which he should be able to do. It's Spock, of course, who deduces that there must be an imposter
Oh yeah,
because,
must be an imposter because it's not like the captain would do anything like that. No, no,
and
no.
we can at least use the fact that Janice said, "Look, I scratched you," and then Kirk is like, "Look, my face, there's no scratches. Haven't been scratched." So I mean that, not to say that that should have been automatically dismissive of Janice's claims, but you know, again, we're
Right.
still talking about a show made in the '60s, and you couldn't even have the man bear conversation back then. You would just be shut down.
Yes,
And
exactly. Because it's like, oh well, of course it's you want to be in there with a man, not a bear. Bear will maul you. Oh, you don't want to be there. And
yeah, and
so, yeah,
women knowing that back then that the punishments towards men for engaging those kind of behaviors were less than what they are now, and they're still far below what they should be, but even less than knowing they can't say anything, they can't argue back and give you reasons why we choose the bear because um, you know they might get wrapped in the mouth later that night.
yeah, yeah.
So they stay silent and they don't do anything. It's sad, really. But
And so the one that
Scotty
it did,
finds the dust, though. He finds the dust
he did find the dust.
on the
The
transporter.
and so that whole kind of scene, it really does paint out, illustrated perfectly as to how it happened, how somebody would the victim would be gaslit, how the whole thing would just occur and happen. Because instead of just Spock was like, Captain, what you do? No, he's like, well, there's got to be an imposter.
There has to be an imposter.
Hmm.
We can't keep him in
And so again,
the
that's just Spock enabling.
right. We can't
As
keep him in, as second, as first officer, second in charge of the ship. I would think, well, maybe, and you're not acting right. People have seen some weird behavior. McCoy saw it. Rand has seen it.
hmm
Fisher's seen it. Maybe we should keep you in sick bay for a while and just
yeah,
evaluate.
it's keep you in sick bay and make sure somebody has an eye on you.
Yeah, at least
Because
until the report comes in that Captain Kirk was on deck 4 doing something else to somebody else. I'm like,
right.
well, no, he was
Then
here
it's
with
like, oh
us the
wait,
whole time.
no wait, he was here in sick bay because I was literally here watching him. So then after that, then it would be, oh, there is an imposter. And he may actually be innocent. Because, okay, now see, there's somebody there that looks like Kirk. He's doing some really effed up stuff down there. So we need to take care of that now.
We need to go take care of that now. And all the while, Sulu and his buddies are are freezing. We can't beam
So,
them up because
and
we've got two
we got one,
space
we got two space
space dog
space
unicorns,
unicorns,
right?
and we got
And
two Kirks, and one is one is committing all kinds of atrocities, while the other one is, hey, come on, guys, come on, it's not me. I never want to do anything like that. While one's doing all kinds of effed up stuff, and the other one's covering up for him. So, and everybody else is helping the other guy cover up for him.
right, right,
Yeah,
and then even then, Kirk, positive Kirk at this point is telling Spock like, well, we should inform the crew of what's going on. But then Spock even then is like, no,
and Spock's like, ah,
you'll lose the ship, man. Wow, that
yeah.
escalated quickly.
He's like, because you're the captain, you're supposed to show strength. You're supposed to be strong. You're not supposed to show any kind of weakness. You're not supposed, and weakness is the truth. So you have to lie and be strong. And as I wrote that that's that's the message that's what
That's
we're
the
putting
message.
out. That's what we're putting out in the universe that,
In the
bl-
23rd century, no less, because I don't care how strong you are. You could be I can't even think because I don't watch wrestling anymore. I can't think of like big powerful wrestlers that are out there, but like I don't care how big and strong you are. You're walking down the street and a piano falls on your head. That's not necessarily a sign that you're weak. It's a sign that a piano fell on your head. An accident happened, and I'm sorry,
Mhm.
you're only flesh and bone. Things happen. So
Yes. And it's like, I mean, it
the
it just
logic,
happens.
the
It
logic,
happens. And
Spock's
the logic,
logic is questionable in this episode.
it is. And it's it's because, and again, like I've noticed it through the whole thing, and it's McCoy and Spock that are just covering up and enabling Kirk, and instead of, okay, we need to keep an eye on actual Kirk here and see if what the heck is really actually going on. No, Spock is like, well, oh, it's an imposter. Somebody else did it. That's your friend. You ought to know whether or not it's somewhere deep down in him that he would do some kind of effed up stuff.
Yeah, that he's certainly
You would know
capable of
something.
it. He's certainly capable of it.
Yeah. Or even if he wouldn't, cross that actual threshold of it, but he would do really questionable things. And
Well,
even then,
sure.
and even then, the questionable things is his good side is holding him from doing the crossing that line. So you know he would do some effed up stuff. Captain or not, you know that's your friend and you know he would do some horrible, messed up stuff to that yeoman. And you've seen him talk to her the way he's talked to her. You've heard him say the things that he said to her. You've heard him just could be completely misogynistic towards her and just completely disrespect her and then just be like, come on.
Yeah, I don't fully get the logic there, but it is what it is, I guess. I would just think that given patterns I've seen and some men, especially the ones who are fairly successful getting with various amounts of women, the more and more successful they are, the more and more it goes to their head, and the more and more that they feel entitled to it. So
Hmm.
when they get that rejection, they can't in their minds fathom it. So I would think at this point, and we all know Kirk gets his. He gets his
Yeah,
blue, green, human or otherwise. It doesn't matter. He gets his. So I would think he's very
he's very, very
used to it.
entitled.
Very, very
He,
entitled. Absolutely. Youngest captain in Starfleet at the time. I mean, his
yep,
ego has got to be
just absolutely massive. Just because
massive.
one being the youngest captain of Starfleet, and then A being the captain, and B the youngest one, and then C, everywhere he goes, he's always like, "Hey, what's up? Come on!" And then all the panty, all the green, blue, gold skin,
Doesn't matter.
all the doesn't
They're all
matter.
dropping. They're all dropping.
All dropping. All alien panties dropping. All of them dropping. Doesn't matter. All Kirk has to do is say, "Hey, Captain Kirk, USS Enterprise."
Right, exactly. And
And a whole
you're probably talking about a man too whose reputation precedes him just about everywhere
yeah,
he goes, at least in Federation space.
yeah, of
So
course. And who knows how many baby mamas he has just on each planet. You never know because
yeah, I find it
yeah,
hard to believe that he's only canonically has one child. I find that
I said,
I find that difficult
that's what we know of.
that we know of, right? Yeah, I mean they're probably scattered all around at least the beta quadrant. That's where Earth is, right? Earth's in the beta quadrant.
I
I
thought
think
we
that's what
called
it is.
Earth the Alpha Quadrant and moved out from there.
I thought so
Because I
too.
mean that was that.
I was looking at a map though. Let's see. Well, let's just do I'm just gonna consult the Oracle.
I mean, because that would just seem like that'd be the most logical, egotistical way for us to be. Is like
Oh yeah,
we live in the
okay.
Alpha Quadrant.
It is in the Alpha quadrant. Yeah, no, you're right. See, and maybe I'm just getting a little mixed up too, playing a lot of that Star Trek Online, but it seems like a lot of the main focus and main villain, enemies and stuff like that are in the beta quadrant. Like Kronos is in the
Hmm.
beta quadrant. Um, I believe that Romulus was in the beta quadrant. The Mutara Nebula is in the beta quadrant. So,
Yep.
but regardless, doesn't matter. So yeah, that does make sense, especially given the fact that Earth is sector 001. Okay. That's not arrogant. Like we're number one.
I know.
It's like the kids in that Charlie Brown Goes to Camp cartoon, right? And they got the kids in a motorboat in a little river race, and they're like, "We're number one. We're number one."
Yes. Oh,
Somehow though,
uh,
we do get back to the bridge though, and I don't know if they had another conversation about it. I just watched it, but I mean, um, Kirk does make the announcement that
yeah. The
there's an
positive
imposter,
Kirk is to he gets
and
to the
he'll
bridge
have
and then he
scratches
makes
on
the
his
announcement.
face.
Yeah. Makes the announcement of there's an imposter and he has scratches on his face and at this point they don't know if he knows all of the things the captain knows or anything like that. And they're just thinking is that, oh, well, he's just some dude that's just dressed up like the captain.
Yeah, they don't know that it's actually a part of Kirk, or even someone who they just know it's somebody who's pretending to be or acting in the captain's name
Mm,
or something. Meanwhile, though, negative Kirk is in actual Kirk's quarters, and
yeah.
smashing monitors and stuff at this announcement, freaking out, Captain Kirk.
He's like, I am Kirk. I am Kirk. And it's like, yo,
This is Captain Kirk. This is Captain Kirk's the women moment.
the women.
The
I am
women.
Kirk. And so yeah,
uh,
he's the positive Kirk makes the announcement, and the negative Kirk goes into hiding, and, and then
well, I did want to touch on this because this is something that's important.
mhm,
Now, not that I'm dissing anybody. Like if a man wants to wear makeup, we live in a world
mhm.
where you can do that. There's no problem with that. I don't necessarily think of Kirk as that kind of person though. So why did Kirk have makeup on his dresser in his quarters? Did one of his girls leave it there? Like, she stopped by one night and she had to powder her nose
You would
before she left.
Well, you would
Just
think
wondering.
that.
But he's
You'd
got
think
like
that, but
he's got like perfect foundation that matches his own skin tone.
yeah,
Well, maybe
I would,
Kirk's got a little metrosexuality in him. Maybe
yeah.
he's
I mean, you'd think so. You know that, it'd be one of his conquests that they would leave there, but seeing as how it matched him perfectly, I was like, hmm,
as someone
nah,
who
man.
buys foundation, I have to go, and it's not like looking at eyeshadow or something. I just go, oh, I like that color eyeshadow or that color eyeshadow. With foundation, I have to go, okay, does this match my skin tone?
Yeah.
It's a
It's like
process.
it's a
Process.
process because it's not like it's a one size fit all type of thing where it's like, oh, looks good.
Mm.
That'll work. No. So the simple fact is that he has that and it matches his exact skin tone. It
So
tells
I'm
me
just
that yeah, he doesn't like the wrinkles.
he
So
doesn't
he
like the
likes to keep
wrinkles.
his face baby smooth.
Yeah, if he existed in the 20th or 21st century, he'd definitely one of those guys. He'd wear the wrinkle-free khakis, and he'd always have a nice golf shirt on. His
Oh
hair's all. I
yeah.
mean, he's always, even in the reboots, what Scotty call him, Captain Captain Perfect Hair or whatever.
Yes.
So,
And
he's
again,
got the hair.
he'd be that guy. He would be
He,
that guy that would he would be completely straight, but he would be the one he would go and get the manicure and the pedicure
oh yeah,
and
oh
he
yeah.
would get the hairstylist and
If he's
yeah,
not
the whole nine.
if he's not climbing mountains and doing manly stuff, he's definitely a loafer kind of guy. I'm just
Oh
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the simple fact is that he had the makeup like that and it's
Just
like
something I
bam.
noticed, like wow, it's just right there on his dresser and his quarters. And I've seen his quarters a lot. I never got the impression that Kirk was a messy person. His room's always pretty tidy. He just happens to have
It,
perfect foundation
he
on
just
there. I don't know.
happens to have, foundation that perfectly matches his skin.
What do they
And
call that? And I don't know if it applies to objects, but like a what's it called, a Rube Goldberg device. Think of it like the Hobbit movies. Remember how they're going down the river in the barrels and just everything works out perfectly all along the way, so that they
yeah,
don't fall out or drown or get smashed to pieces on rocks or something. I think it's
yeah.
called a Rube Goldberg device, but I don't know
That
if that
that's
applies to the makeup.
I'm not sure if that will call it or that falls into the magic MacGuffin.
Wouldn't a MacGuffin be something though that's necessary to the plot? Like the Genesis device would be the MacGuffin of Star Trek 2.
Well, yeah.
It was the
Mm.
magical destroy the whole plot device. Like if this blows up,
Yeah.
it's over. Or
Oh,
giant space probes that talk to whales. Whatever.
yeah. I think you got a visitor behind you.
Oh, oh,
Ah,
let me mute
I just
one
saw
second.
hands. I just saw hands. No, I mean,
Okay, I got that. Fortunately, I've got two of my kids here, so I've got one that can help out. I told her, I said, "Hey, I need to do my show," and then, but she wants ice cream and all that fun stuff, and she's just impatient. She cannot wait, but she's going to wait. So I've got some help, so we're good. Anyway,
that's
but
all
whether
right.
dogs or kids, we always have some kind of unscripted thing,
Just
but not that we're scripted
always
anyway.
got something.
Always got
Real
something.
life has to spill in somehow. And so yeah, I guess maybe that would be yeah, the because when Negative Kurt put the makeup on, then again he used that as a way to gaslight the yeoman as well. It's like, look, I don't have a scratch mark. See, I don't have one either.
Yep. After the whole crew has already been informed that there's an imposter, and Kirk's now walking, negative Kirk is walking down the corridor, and this random security guy walks by, and Kirk's just like, give me your phaser. And he's not
He's like,
really acting like positive Kirk. He's a little,
yeah,
twitchy.
and you can
And the
see
dude's
like
just
just by how he's walking, and he's just like kind of,
and dude's just like, okay, here, have my phaser. And then, you know,
and then, oh,
good night,
you
good
heard
night, take a nap.
he said, yeah, it's crazy that looking for the imposter.
And
Like, ah,
some twitchy guy that looks like Kirk comes around the corner and asks for my gun. I don't look, I mean, I'm a gun owner. I have friends and stuff that are gun owners and
mm,
like guns. And when I've shown my firearms to people before, I always drop the mag, clear the chamber, and hand them an empty weapon. It's not that, like, say my dad is looking at it. It's not that I don't trust him, but one, that's just proper gun
mm.
etiquette, and two, I'm not handing someone else a loaded weapon
Yeah, that's just common sense.
and leaving myself unarmed. It's not happening. So
Yeah, this is common sense.
Starfleet security training needs to be upgraded. But then again, we haven't even gotten to the red shirts yet. That trope hasn't even started
Mm,
yet by episode
no,
6. It's still people in blue shirts getting whacked and gold
that,
shirts,
and even just people in just overalls
people in
and
overalls, right?
jumpsuits,
Jumpsuits.
and
And
it's but and here's the thing: if you're in security as well, and every you're dealing with security, okay, and you're looking for Kirk, whether or not if it's the captain or the imposter or what, you don't know. And so with anybody that looks like Kirk, your security, first thing you should do is put your hands up.
absolutely. And
Not just
security,
like,
they're basically military police, right? That's what I'm
yeah,
assuming. I
yeah.
mean,
Essentially, yeah, that because I mean security is like this. All right. You know you're after Kirk. Okay, you know for sure where one of them is at the bridge. Okay, so two security people go to the bridge, get that Kirk. Two security people go and grab the other Kirk. Security knows where the one Kirk is because the one Kirk is now either in sick bay or in the brig where they can keep a close eye on him and they know 100% for a fact Kirk is here. And now they're able to freely look for the other Kirk.
right, exactly.
That only
Exactly.
makes sense. But Odo wasn't there, so we can't blame that because Odo wasn't there.
I just think that, growing up, one of my best friends in high school, their dad was a police officer. And like we literally could not walk out of the house into the garage with a wrench to tighten the trucks on our skateboards without being interrogated about what we were going kind of trouble we were going to be causing with that wrench. Like
Yeah,
ch- chill,
it's like
bro. I
it's
mean,
like
come on, man.
uh, just trying to tighten these wheels up, bro. That's just just trying to tighten the stuff up so I could skate. That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah. That's it. So I just think handing over the gun was a little bit. But again, we're just
But
writers have 40 minutes to get the story done.
yeah,
And but it's
and
fun to
then
break it down and be like, hey, that's not right, man. That's not right, dude.
there's I mean that's security. So I mean you like why would he even just hand his gun over like that too? Is my is my additional question. It's like because
Well,
and you've heard the announcement that there's
there's
an
an
imposter
imposter
Kirk.
that looks like Kirk, right?
So why would you randomly run up on Captain Kirk and say, "Hand me your phaser"? Like, whoa.
And we've seen in the past how this has also worked. I mean, I'm not sure that Kirk and them were watching Batman 1989 in the 23rd century, but what happened every time the Joker asked somebody for their gun?
Always. Let me see your gun.
Bob,
Just
Bob,
check.
gun,
Boom.
bang.
Yeah. First thing, he look at it, make sure it's loaded, and then bang. Oh, I'm gonna miss Bob. You're my new number one.
You're my new number one. Oh,
So
we've stopped just shy of like Kirk on the on the intercom, like something straight out of Return of the Living Dead, like send more security.
yeah, like just before I say,
Oh gosh.
you'll
So
never find me. And so then they positive Kirk decides, along with Spock, they're going to go on a hunt and try to find negative Kirk
well, they have to
because
because I mean, Sulu really wants some coffee at this point,
yeah,
you know.
and I can understand that. I get that. I mean, coffee's
Yeah, I
coffee is
want to I want to know why they weren't heating up the rocks initially though with their phasers. That was one of my first thoughts. Like heat up the rock with the
I don't
phaser.
know. I think maybe it's maybe because they were worried about draining their energy reserves or something on it. Maybe they had a
Could be.
finite battery.
It could be. And Sulu did mention at one point, he's like, we're using the phasers to heat the rocks, but two of them are out already. You know, they're already
Yeah.
not working anymore. So it is
Yeah,
what it is.
so it that could be happening, yeah. But and again, hitting rocks would be the best way to go on that one because they're how how heavy the wind and how cold it was, hitting wood or any kind of anything flammable like that, it would just been immediately put out. So
Yeah,
he did right
true.
in hitting the rocks, but then
And
again,
they
hitting the
did,
rocks, it take a while. So
they did try to beam down some heaters though, and they got
they just didn't work
non-functional junk is what they got. So
because it's
yeah.
too cold. It
But
was
yeah,
just too cold.
we got to go to engineering and hunt for negative Kirk.
And and again, my one of my only questions I have, okay, Enterprise, they should have a shuttle. Should have a shuttle that could
That
go down. But I don't know if it was
good
one
point.
of
I
those
thought of
things
that
where
too.
it was too cold, or whether or not if it couldn't go through the atmosphere or weather or just whatever conditions. But I just feel that it could have been solved a lot quicker, which is sending a shuttle down. As soon as you realize, oh, the transport is bad, get a shuttle ready. And then
Sometimes things just work or are used because they have to work in for the plot, and that's where I think you get some lazy writing sometimes. I was just watching a next gen episode the other day where some kid, I don't remember which episode it was, he steals a shuttle and Picard's like, beam him back. And they're like, he's out of transporter range. Like, dude, you beam people up and down from planets. You're orbiting what, 60, 70, 80 miles above the surface of the planet? How far away did he get on impulse? You're literally
yeah,
watching him fly away on external camera and he's out of transporter range already. That's lazy writing. I'm sorry.
yeah, that's true. Because sometimes they just make it, sometimes they're not. It just more or less kind of depends on the story and where they want to go with it.
Now,
But
Spock does the old neck pinch on negative Kirk, doesn't he? Does he do it in
yes,
this one? Yes.
yep, yep, that he does because they get into positive and negative Kirk get into a struggle, and Spock comes up from behind and pinch out.
Right,
And
right.
so now everybody thinking, hooray, we got negative Kirk, we got positive Kirk, we know where all the Kirks are. Now we just got to figure out what we're gonna do about this janky transporter. And now what we're gonna do about getting all Sulu and all everybody else up. because they need a cup of coffee.
They need a cup of coffee. They deserve a cup of coffee. They deserve more than, all the coffee. Call the chef, the meatloaf guy from Charlie X, and be like, hey, cancel the meatloaf dinner. When Sulu gets back, he wants all the coffee. Okay.
Yes, he needs all the coffee.
All the coffee. While negative
So,
Kirk is laying in bed screaming at everybody.
so pretty much that's kind of this point, we just kind of keep going back and forth with the positive and the negative, the morality of mankind's positive side and their negative side, the good versus evil, and, you know, how one can't live without the other. And now we see that both Kirks are now starting to die because they're literally just been apart for so long.
Yeah, they can't exist without each other, I guess, at this point. So
Yeah, so now Scotty has got to find a way to get the transporter working, even though he said it'll take a week. Said, bro, we don't have a week, we got an hour.
Scotty never has a week or anything. I mean, it doesn't matter. I need 6 hours. You've got two. I need a week. You've got 12 minutes. But I've got to have 30 minutes. Well, you don't have 30 minutes.
So you say, I need 30 minutes. You got five. Best I could do.
Yeah. Well, I can't change the laws of physics. What you're gonna have to. All right.
Uh,
It's
you, you,
just do it.
well, I'm not asking you to change the laws. I'm just asking you to find a shortcut.
Yeah. This is a Nike commercial, man. Just do it. Just do it. So
Says it's got to happen. It's got to happen. And so yeah, we going through that and just the morality arguing back and forth while Scotty's fixing everything, and then
they got to do the test on the on
it's
this on the space
on the
on the space
on the
dog
space uni
unicorns,
on the
unicorn
space
space
dog
dogs.
unicorn,
Right, right. And
and
the
then
one dies, or
the,
it dies when it's
it dies.
reintegrated into
Yeah,
itself. Yeah.
and they figure, well, why did it die? Well, it went into shock. It was scared because it didn't know what was happening. Huh? And
And
again, that didn't make much sense to me. Simply because uh, to me, I don't think your emotional state would play that big of a role into the shock of being brought back together. I didn't think it would play that big of a role into it. I would think it would give you more of a sense of I wouldn't say like feeling whole, but definitely just feeling like you have more of your strength back. You feeling like yourself.
oh,
But
absolutely, absolutely. But again, we're talking about a lesser, lower life form, I guess. Maybe not.
yeah,
I don't know.
but
Hard to say. It's to
yeah,
create
but you gotta
drama. Like, oh no,
yeah.
now what are we going to do? It didn't work. The unicorn space dog died. What's going to happen to Kirk now?
And you think that and the way Sulu was holding it, that was gonna be his new that was gonna be his new little buddy,
Yeah.
the unicorn space dog. Like, you go back to Earth and you're like, haha, got me a unicorn space dog. Y'all ain't got this. I know it.
That would definitely be one of the wonderful things about having a parent that worked in space. Like I used to get excited when my dad went to Dallas or something. Like, what'd you bring me? What'd you bring me? Like, wow, you were just on Alpha
Yeah,
177. You brought me a unicorn space dog. Like, wow, it's freaking amazing, man. It's freaking amazing. Thank
yeah.
you.
Like my dad, he's in the military and he would go overseas something and he'd bring me back a toy. Like, what? It's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Your friends are over here like, my dad went to Dallas and all I got was this stupid t-shirt, and you're over here holding your unicorn space dog, like,
It's like,
sorry about your luck.
oh,
My dad's cooler
said,
than your dad.
oh, have fun over there. I'll be over here chilling with my unicorn space dog.
And this, I believe, is the very first episode when we finally get the full "he's dead, Jim" when referring to the
Yes,
the dead
to
unicorn
the
space dog.
to the
He's
unicorn
dead, Jim.
space dog, we get it. We get a it's dead, Jim.
We've had "he's dead." We've had Jim. He's dead.
Ain't that?
We've had all of them, but
I'm
now
dead.
we've got "he's dead, Jim." So the tropes are starting. They're beginning. I have a knock on my
So
door.
which it was funny enough. Funny enough, one of the more popular sayings was, "Scotty, beam me up," in which he's never said that.
Or "beam me up,
He's
Scotty." That was
beam me
yeah.
up,
That
Scotty.
hey, this
He's
was
he's
never
never
said.
said that. He said, "Mr.
No.
Scott, beam me up."
Yep. Energize or "for to beam up" or
Something like that, but he's never said, "Beam me up, Scotty."
never said "beam me up, Scotty." Yeah, there's always those fun little tropes there. I got to knock at my
It's
door. One
a
second here.
yeah, no problem. And so at this point, I'm just kind of carrying on the conversation and everybody that's kind of listening and whatnot. Um, as they're just kind of discussing moralities and everything like that, the evil Kirk escapes. And so as the evil Kirk escapes and he's trying to plot and plan and scheme his way to he won't have to be integrated back again because he wants to have his own life and he wants to live separately and that's all fine and good, but you've got to you're gonna die, man, if you don't get integrated back together with your positive half because your positive half needs you as much as you use the negative half and the positive need each other.
We got to do it
So,
one. We got to do it one way or the other. I have
yeah,
to step away for 30 seconds. I will be right back.
all right, take your time, do what you got to do, be an adult. So as we're going through and as the evil Kirk is got to the bridge and he's ordering everybody to kind of pull away from orbit and move away, positive Kirk comes in. See positive Kirk and negative, they have their whole exchange, and then we see more of the dual morality of the evil and the positive and the negative, and them both wanting to exist individually, but knowing that they can't exist individually, that they have to coexist simultaneously.
Yeah,
And
because I
again,
could
which
I could
brings
see
in,
how Kirk wouldn't want, he under I think they're all trying to convince him that he needs that part of himself to make him whole. And he's understanding that, but at the same time, kind of like, I don't really
he's like,
want those bad things. Those are horrible.
yeah, it's like if I could just figure out, well, a way to make a decision real quick, I really don't need that other half or that other side of me. In which I get it, both of them they want to be their own individual people and have their own lives, and that's all great, fine and good. Not so good for Yeoman Rand, but I understand, your whole want and need to be your own people, live your own separate lives, be your own boss, so to speak.
Yeah, and
But
we can't have negative Kirk running around though. He
but
would
we
just
can't
cause
we
too much ruckus.
yeah, we can't have negative Kirk running around because, you know,
Mhm.
one Kirk is bad enough. Now we got two of them and woo, and one of them, oh my God, one of them just absolute pure hell. Just hell. Like no other way to say it, just hell.
Yeah, yeah, there's no other way to really describe that. But still we gotta get them
Yeah,
reintegrated, but we can't do that and not have negative Kirk get away again and
oh, of course, but then,
cause some more trouble.
of course, got to have that one last just kind of ah let me get that one last try to. I need my plan to win, and
And he still can't leave Rand alone.
still can't leave Rand alone. Because the first thing he does is like, I need to explain what happened. There's an imposter, and I'll explain to you tonight at your quarters. You don't
That right
mind,
there,
do you?
that right there should have been like, I mean,
It's
he
like,
was
whoa.
he was standing at attention, saluting his red flag as he raised it for all to see. Like,
Oh, he raised a whole field of red flags, like a whole line of them. Just every
I
red flag he raised with just that one line,
that
and it was
one
like,
line. Because
and I was like, yo,
even if Janice is aware of the fact that Kirk has been split into two, the real Kirk would never have said that to her in real life, would never have come to her and said, hey, you know, there's this mission coming up. Want to come talk about it in my quarters? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like,
yeah, and it's like, no, Kirk wouldn't do that. He is, don't get me wrong, he is not the king of morality, but at
and
the same time, he does understand kind of his duties as a Starfleet captain, and he does push those boundaries when it comes to something like that, you know.
and I need someone to check into this too, maybe. Of all the women that Kirk has been with in the show, has he ever actually hooked up with a crew member or somebody under his direct command?
I, I don't remember. I don't ever remember him hooking up with anyone under his crew. I just remember um
Various
just
alien
random
women.
very yeah, various and random alien women.
So I wonder if, like, at least, again, you don't
Other
get to
than
be the youngest captain in Starfleet by making stupid decisions. I would think he would be responsible enough that, you know what, I can't really be getting it on with my crew members. That would just
uh,
look bad. That would look bad.
no, at least not in the Kelvin universe now. He Kirk hooked up with Uhura, but
Well, he tried to.
yeah, that's it. He tried to.
She was with
But
Spock,
she
and
was she was with Spock.
I still have thoughts about that, but we're not even close to that yet. But
But yeah, so
hmm.
he tried. Gotta give him that, he tried.
Yeah, he did try. He definitely tried. They don't have
And so
force
yeah,
guns on your planet?
and then at the same time, miraculously, Scotty has the transporter fixed. And here comes the discussion of should we do it? Should we not do it? Do we need to test it? We need to not test it. How long do we need to test? Blah 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 blah. And then everybody's just going back and forth with Spock and McCoy and Kirk, all of them just kind of still enabling Kirk as like, we'll be all right, but we could do and still kind of just and again,
Yeah,
kind of just dusting everything under the rug, wanting to make sure everything goes away. It's just like, what, and then Kirk, along with I think if I remember right, it was a little bit of pushing from Spock because I guess, finally when Spock kind of realized that, yo, this is not right, and I think I need to say something. And he finally said something, and then which Kirk may go, oh, you're right. Let's go use the transporter now. And which he did, joined together, and we see there that he has the scratch. It's it's still healed, it's healing up, but he does have the scratch, and
he does have the scratch. Don't think that's going to go away. He's going to
he
have
has
to
the
deal with
scratch.
that for a
That's
few days.
oh yeah, he's gonna use all the makeups, all that foundation he has. He's using all of that.
All of it, all of it. But and let's not forget that before we got to this moment, Evil Kirk did try. He did go to the bridge and he was like, let's get out of here. And the helmsman's like,
Yeah,
what? What about Sulu? And Evil Kirk or
you
Negative
say?
Kirk is like, eh.
They'll be all right, man. Just let's go.
I don't even care. Let's just go.
Said, they'll be all right. Just somebody come along and get them. They'll be all right. Throw a couple blankets down. They got blankets already. They'll be fine.
They'll be fine. They'll be. That was another thing. Why didn't they beam down inanimate objects? Like, okay, you beam down even more blankets.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I guess maybe because that they figured the heaters or whatever that they sent down, those just kind of froze up, I guess.
I mean,
Guessing
you
they
could
figured that it was all just gonna freeze down as soon as it touched down anyway, so
you could try it though. I mean, if it turns into a giant pile of thread that's unusable, okay, but at least we tried. It was just a blanket.
yeah.
We didn't
At least you
waste
have
any real supplies or anything. So
yeah, if anything you could fire a phaser at it and hey, you have a fire to keep it warm. Bury some rocks around it so it keeps the air from blowing the fire out. Hey, you have your own little makeshift fire pit.
yeah, pretty much. So, just some more of those random little side thoughts. But what really gets me is when we come to the end, right? And you've got Kirk normal back together. He's fine. We got the transporter fixed. Now we can beam up Sulu. They're all frostbitten, but Dr. McCoy, I can't tell if you're drunk or not, but I'm gonna heal this frostbite like that.
Right. It's like, oh, Dr. McCoy, I've honestly one of the worst doctors. One of the worst doctors in Starfleet.
Definitely inconsistent in his practice. But so Rand is on the bridge, and Kirk is he's kind of nice about it. He just tells her what happens, and or she tries to explain
It
to him what happened, and he just thanks her. He just says thank you. He doesn't try to make excuses, doesn't get into a
doesn't
big mess about it. He's just like thank you. But then Spock walks over and is like, that guy had some interesting qualities, didn't he? Whoa, that's
interesting. Interesting. So we're calling we're calling it SA interesting qualities.
interesting. Yes. Since we are on the
So
Tiki Talks, we're calling grape.
call 'em
Interesting.
interesting. So that's what we're calling it now. Ah, Spock.
Again, this is just continuing with what we've been talking about in almost every episode so far. That for all of the complex social issues that this show attempts to tackle, the rampant
Yeah.
misogyny just keeps on going.
It's still
You
there, it keeps on going,
you could choose
and
the
again,
bear in every episode of TOS.
yeah. And again, it's partially kind of showing just how just horrible people can be. Um,
Yeah,
Even in the future, just we still can be horrible, misogynistic, and and again, this with Star Trek coming out at the time when it did, it made all of these issues of misogyny and racism and sexism. It told the story in the way that the people could accept it better rather than just hearing it, on the news and
right.
they feeling it being force fed to them. Now you can see clearly, oh, this is how it could play out. Because people are a lot more accepting in settings on Starship, on different planets, or different dimensions, or whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And seeing that and saying and looking at it and say, hey, that's wrong. They're a little more accepting to that as we're seeing and something that hits close to home to them that realistic realistically could happen in, they're across the street from them. And
Yep.
there's just want to look at it and say, oh, that could never happen. Oh, that's not real. That could never happen. But they're a little more accepting with putting it deep into space or
Right.
changing the changing it to aliens or whatever the case may be. More
Right.
accepting of that than just, hey, you're a low life POS.
Exactly. And we're going to get to so many episodes, just not just in TOS, but some in, some of the in the, the big three once we get to those finally. But definitely, maybe it just makes it more palatable for people
Yes.
when you wrap it up in fancy futuristic kind of stuff. But I mean, we're still technically, which is interesting, it's more of a sign of the times the show was written because we're gonna be coming up on an episode sometime in this series, the one where the woman that Kirk used to know, they like swap bodies, they do the whole Freaky Friday thing, and she's really
Yeah.
upset because she wanted to be a captain of a starship, but at that time, women weren't allowed to be captains of starships in the Federation or in Starfleet at least. And it's like, wow,
It's like,
again,
oh, all right. All
Christopher
righty.
Christopher Pike. We go back to the pilot. I'm just not used to having a woman on the bridge. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah. It's like, whoa,
whoa,
where did that come from?
whoa. Okay, that's
Yeah.
some that's a bit harsh, but the
And it's
women
like
they they
Spock always with that. The women.
they were really the writers of the time were really confused about what to do with the women. They just didn't know. So let's just abuse them.
So it's like,
Let's
what do we do with this? The Yeoman Rand. What are we gonna do with her this week?
Yeah, she's pretty and
Ah,
blonde. Let's traumatize her further. I'm surprised. I guess maybe it's just it's a feather in the cap to that character's strength to know that she served. I mean, because she does make small, brief cameos in both like Star Trek 3. She's in Star Trek 4 briefly. So she's still in Starfleet many years later. So good on you, girl, for sticking it out. Sorry you had to
yeah.
go through that. And I understand, Rand, why you picked the bear too, because Rand would pick the bear. I'm just saying.
Oh,
She'd pick the
Rand,
bear.
she would straight up pick a space bear.
Space bear.
Straight up pick the space bear.
Hey, Spock, what'd you say your teddy bears were called? I'm going straight to Vulcan and getting me one.
Yeah. And besides, you never know. You could befriend the bear, and the bear would lead you out the woods for all you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of women, when we get to next week's episode, the name it's in the title. It's Mud's Women.
Uh, Harry Mudd.
Very Mud. Very
We
Mud.
get our first introduction of Harry Mudd.
Ugh.
I can honestly say when I first got my first taste of Harry Mudd, it left a bad taste in my mouth.
He's
I I did not like Harry Mudd.
I don't know why he became such a staple in the series to the fact where not only was he recreated in a future series, I think um he made an appearance in maybe it was Discovery.
Yeah, it was
Was
in
that
Discovery. Yeah, he was
that'd
in an
be the
episode
time
of
period.
Discovery.
That would
Yep.
be the time period. And then he showed up several times in the animated series as well. So because
Yeah.
he was only in two episodes of the original series. The Mud's
Yeah,
Women and then the one with all the androids on the planet, all again more women, more like 700 women that all look the same.
I hated Harry Mudd. I did not like him at all. I did not like Harry Mudd at all.
well then maybe keep a side subject or two in mind for next week if we get really distracted from Mud's Women, because I could see that happening.
Oh
I
no,
mean,
because
it's
oh no, because see with Mudd's women, no, I want to wear into that one because I
we could just tear it
hated that
apart
guy.
because A
I
whole
hate it.
episode of it's just nothing but misogyny, the whole episode for the most part.
Oh my God, that he's one of those guys that just makes you just feel wrong on just
He's
everything.
greasy. He's greasy. He's one of those people I want nothing to do with. Like he's the kind of man that I would meet in public and be like, no, no, I'm not interested. So I don't even want you to talk to me. I don't care what you have to say. There's nothing you can do. You can have all the money in the world. Bear, please. Waiter, bear, please. I have to go.
Yes, exactly. It's like
Well,
it's like
we'll have some fun with that one, folks, next week because again, it's a whole episode of misogyny. Um, we do have another commitment coming up here in about 20 minutes, though.
that is
So
true.
we
We
should
in about
probably
20 minutes or so, we will be live again on the Villain's View. So for those out
correct.
there that is watching and listening, you can see our lovely faces again in about 20 minutes or so, and we'll be talking about something. I forgot what we were talking about.
I don't know. I just know who the guest is, but hey, if you all want to jump over there and see. But other than that, we'll see you next week for episode 7 of the Rules of Nerdquisition with Mud's Women. Mud's
Mud's
Women.
women. So
Other than that,
I'll,
I'm Gretchen. That's
I am
angry.
angry.
And we'll catch you on the Villains View.
All right. Take care, everybody.